don't know how you're going to make it, got a devastating diagnosis, and you don't know if God's going to heal it or if God's going to make you deal with it. Unanswered prayer. If you are like me, you've probably experienced some times where you felt like your prayers went unanswered. And one of the things that I found interesting about studying the events leading up to the crucifixion and ultimate resurrection of Christ was the fact that Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane experienced unanswered prayer as well, at least from the way that I look at it. Because when I look at these accounts from the Gospels, when you look at the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Mark, both of them record Jesus praying this same prayer: Lord, if it be possible, let this bitter cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done, or some form or variation of that prayer. And he prayed this prayer 3 times, and yet there's no recorded answer from God. However, when we look at Luke's account of the Garden of Gethsemane experience, we have Jesus praying the same prayer. But in Luke chapter 22, verse 43, it says that an angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. So I just dropped by to tell somebody that sometimes strength is the answer to an unanswered prayer. Because again, in Luke, we don't have a recorded answer from God. But we do have an angel that comes to minister to Jesus and comes to strengthen him to do what? To endure what ultimately would be the will of God. You don't know how you're going to make it. Strength, got a devastating diagnosis, and you don't know if God's going to heal it or if God's going to make you deal with it, and yet there's strength. You are not sure, you're uncertain about what the future looks like for you and your loved one. It's strength. Don't know how you're getting out of the bed every day and fighting depression enough to be able to move forward and make even small progress, and it's strength. You don't know how you're surviving on a job that you cannot wait to get out of, or you're in a situation that you can't stand to be in, and yet the answer is strength. You don't always get a yes or no from God, but one thing you can count on is that he will strengthen you to endure even when you're unsure. How do we know this? Because that's exactly what he did for Jesus. The angel came and strengthened him, and then Jesus walked out the rest of the path. But here's the thing that's interesting for me as well, is the fact that we really don't know what Jesus's prayer did. We don't know if the situations could have been different. Now, we do know that Jesus fulfilled all of the Old Testament prophecies concerning his death, burial, and resurrection. We do know that God did make him drink that bitter cup of having to die on the cross. But what we don't know is, could things have possibly been worse? And I know that's a hard thing to really process, but could they have been different? Are there some things that didn't play out the way they could have played out simply because Jesus prayed? And that's the same thing that we have to grapple with. And one of the things that I hope to understand better when we're able to see Jesus face to face is to understand how our prayers actually change the world. So I just wanted to encourage you and let you know that God will give you strength even when you don't get an answer, and the fact that your prayers do matter and do change things. Sometimes strength is the answer to your unanswered prayer. You pray, you get strengthened, and you keep moving forward. You can be assured that the same God who strengthened Jesus to be able to bear his cross will strengthen you as well to be able to bear yours too. So continue to keep him in your mind and in your conversation until the next video.